Hello everyone, human reproduction. So let's study female reproductive system. The female reproductive system that is located in the pelvic region and which includes pair of ovaries, a pair of oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina and the external genitalia. And the mammary glands also a part of the female reproductive system, but these parts of the system along with the mammary glands are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and childcare. So this mammary glands also included in the female reproductive system that is associated with the ovulation, fertilization and the birth and the childcare. Okay, so let's start with the ovaries. So here these are the female sex organs. These are the pair of ovaries. So these are the pair of ovaries. So that produces the female gamete and the several steroid hormones. For example, some ovarian hormones also produced by the ovary. The main thing is which produces the female gamete, that is the ovum. So where these ovaries are located? The ovaries are located on the either side of the lower abdomen. Each ovary is about to 2 to 4 centimeter length and which is connected to the pelvic wall. So here you can see it is connected to the pelvic wall and the uterus by ligaments. So ligaments are the tissues which helps in the attachment of the ovary to the pelvic wall and the uterus. So these ovaries are connected to the uterus and the pelvic wall. Each ovary, so that is covered by thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma. So just imagine this is the ovary. So it contains the outer one is called as epithelium and the inner one that is called as stroma. Okay, the stroma is divided into two zones, the peripheral cortex and the inner medulla. So the inner region that is called as medulla and the outer one that is called as cortex region. Okay, so this is the structure of the ovary. Then the accessory ducts of the female reproductive system. So the female reproductive system, the fallopian tube, so that is the accessory duct. Each fallopian tube is about to 10 to 12 centimeter long and extends from the periphery of the each ovary to the uterus. So here in the female reproductive system, the funnel shaped structure which is near to the ovary that is called as, that is the part of the fallopian tube. So the fallopian tube, it contains mainly three parts. So this infundibulum is the triangular shape structure. So that is called as the infundibulum and it contains some finger like projections here. So that is called as fimbriae. So what is the function of this fimbriae? Fimbriae helps to collect the ovum which is released by the ovary. Okay, so that is the main function of the fimbriae. Then the next region is called as ampulla, that is the widest region of the fallopian tube, and the isthmus. So the isthmus region which is the narrow part of the fallopian tube. So where the fertilization takes place, you know that the male gametes, so here the male gametes, so which reaches the female reproductive system, and the mainly the fertilization takes place in the wider part of the fallopian tube, that is ampulla. Yes, the wider part of the oviduct, that is called as ampulla. And the finger like projection, what is the function of the finger like projection? So that collection of the ovum after the ovulation, and the narrow part of the oviduct, that is the last part. So that is called as isthmus. Okay, so these are the three important part of the oviduct or the fallopian tube. Then the uterus or the womb. Okay, so the uterus, so this part, so this is the ovary and these are the fallopian tube and it contains the different part. Then this important region that is called as uterus. So the shape of the uterus that is also called as womb, and so that look like a inverted pear shaped, right? So it is supported by ligaments attached to the pelvic wall. The uterus opens into vagina through a narrow cervix. The cavity of the cervix is called a cervical canal, which along with the vagina forms the birth canal. So uterus that contain the cervix, the cavity of the cervix that is called a cervical canal, and along with the vagina that forms the birth canal. So the wall of the uterus has three layers of tissues. So the wall of the uterus that contain the three layers of tissues, that is the perimetrium, myometrium and the endometrium. So the perimetrium, that is the external thin membranous layer, and the myometrium, it is the middle thick layer of smooth muscle, and the endometrium, it is the inner glandular layer that lines the uterine cavity. So here, if you see the structure of the uterus, so the outermost layer, perimetrium, myometrium, and this is the endometrium. So here this is called as the cervix and the cervical canal, and this is vagina. Totally it forms the birth canal, right? So the uterus, the endometrium, so that undergoes cyclical changes. The endometrium, during the menstrual cycle, the endometrium breaks down. So you can say that the endometrium which undergoes cyclical changes in every menstrual cycle. And the myometrium, so that causes the strong uterine contraction during the childbirth. So the endometrium that is responsible for the menstrual cycle, and the myometrium that causes the strong uterine contraction during the childbirth. So that is the main function of the endometrium and the myometrium. Okay, so this is about the female reproductive system, which contain the ovaries and the fallopian tube, the parts of the fallopian tube, uterus and the cervix and the vagina. So these are the important parts of the female reproductive system. Thank you.